Hey, everybody, welcome back to What's Your Story? Got a really incredible conversation today that I'm going to get to have with a couple of fantastic young ladies. I'm privileged today to introduce you to Ava and Lily Bamberg. Ladies, welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hey, so both of you are students at Auburn University now. So tell me, let's just start at the beginning. So you both were born in China and
Mhm.
adopted into a family here in the U.S. And so why don't you just tell us about your family a little bit?
I am their third child. I was adopted when I was a little bit older, and they adopted me when I was 7 from China. We have 2 older siblings. Between their adoption and my adoption, it was a 10-year age gap,
Oh,
or
wow.
10-year adoption gap, my bad. And then
Gotcha.
2 years later, we adopted Ava.
Awesome.
Yes. So I'm
And
the
Ava,
last.
Yeah,
you're the
I'm the
you're
last
the
child.
baby.
yeah, she's a baby.
She says that very proudly, as you should. That's awesome.
But yeah, I got it when in 2014, June 3rd, when I was 9 years old.
I was 7 and she was 9.
Yeah.
We
But
were
by the time when I was adopted, we're basically almost like the same age.
Yeah, we're really close in
Yeah.
age. People think we came from the exact same place in China. We tell them no. And some people
Think that we're
think
like
we're
twins.
twins, but
Well,
we're
We're not.
not
okay.
twins.
So my sons, I have two sons that are 23 and 24, and they're 11 months apart.
Mhm.
But we're adopted 7 years apart, and
Yeah.
everybody thinks they're twins as well. And so it's
Yeah.
the same kind of deal, and we have to stop and explain, and all that sort of stuff. Or
Yeah.
sometimes we just don't stop and explain, and we just kind of let people think whatever they want to.
Yeah, at some point you just have to be like, yeah, it's okay, whatever.
Absolutely. So, being adopted into your family, you guys got here and you've been incredibly active. So, let me see if I can get this straight. So, both of you play power soccer.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And then, do I have this right? Is Ava, you also play wheelchair tennis?
Yes, sir. But I'm not as much involved as I am in power soccer.
Okay, gotcha. So power soccer is your preferred sport. That's
Yes, sir.
pretty
Just because
incredible.
there's more teammates in that sports than
Yeah.
tennis.
Wheelchair tennis is a little small right now,
Yeah.
but we're trying to build it up more.
But power soccer is growing like crazy right now, right?
It is. I think we have 7 players right now, and we're getting 3 more next year, this coming up
Oh,
year. So we'll be
that's
up to
awesome.
10
Yeah.
players.
That's
It's growing
fantastic. So
fast.
so tell us about the sport of power soccer.
It is a powered wheelchair sport. People of all disabilities are able to play. You're in this like souped up chair that has like a guard in front, and that is what you use to hit the 13-inch ball.
Yeah.
So we'll put a picture of one of the chairs in and give people a little bit of an idea of what it is. But they're really incredible machines.
Yeah. They're
It's
pretty fast
really
too.
cool. Yeah. I was blown away at how fast the sport moves and about all the action that's going on.
Yeah, it's like we're not very athletic, so I don't really know a lot about regular soccer, but for us, it's very, very similar to, like, just normal soccer, but instead of 11 players on the field, we play with 4 players on a basketball court
Okay.
inside.
So you have 4 players, so a goalie and then 3 other players that are played in the field, right?
A center and 2
Wings.
wing side
Okay.
players.
And there's some rules about like distance and how many, like how does offsides work? We're in America in general, we're all really confused during the World Cup right now trying to explain offsides. But help
Yeah.
us understand, what does it mean to be offsides in power soccer?
So 2 players cannot be at the ball at the same time when they're playing against, like, the other team. It's called a 2-on-1. So if you have a 2-on-1, you stop the game, put the ball back where it was, like, at in the 2-on-1, and then you have to let the other team hit it because you caused the 2-on-1.
So it's basically like a foul, right? Yeah.
Yes. When the ball goes out of bounds, whoever kicked it or touched it last, they let the other player kick it in first back.
And so instead of like a throw in that you have in soccer, you actually have a kick in
Yes, a
where
kick.
you use the chair and use the big bumper on the chair in order to put the ball back
Mhm.
in play.
And in the goalie, there's this thing called a box. Only the goalie and whoever, like, one other player can be in it, but there cannot be 3 players from the same team in the box. I think the other team gets a goal kick if that happens.
So basically it's to keep you from packing all your players into
Yes.
that box and just sort of playing defense by not having any space,
Mhm.
right?
And
Yes, sir.
just the court is a basketball court, but our chairs are, like, huge, and there's not a lot of space for more than 4 players on the court,
Yeah.
each team. So you gotta space out, you gotta, like, watch where you're going, and if you cause a 2-on-1, it's the other player's game, ball. And then, a foul is if, like, you run into the other team's chair with the ball. You can easily get a foul. I've done a couple. Got
Well,
a
I
yellow
don't see
card.
how. What?
Yeah, that was by accident because my joystick, like, went off and I completely ran into somebody by accident. I spun
Wow.
out so bad, but yeah, and there's tricks and stuff that we do with our chairs that give us a really good chance to score.
Which are amazing. Like the spinning kicks and
Yes,
stuff, and the way that the chairs move is absolutely crazy.
it
Um,
is fast. You have to
so how do
practice.
you learn that? How do you practice and how do you learn?
You want to tell 'em?
How do we practice and we learn?
Yeah.
Well, like
We have a
during
coach.
yeah, we have a
Okay.
coach and he's really good at this sport. So like we have a practice maybe 3 times a week, twice or three
Okay.
times a week. And he teaches us these like methods of how to like score the goal or like in a certain position to get us into to where we
Set
can
pieces.
set pieces and stuff like that.
We have practice every day for a week, but Ava and I can only come to, like, 2, 3 practices a week. Out of,
Uh-huh.
like out of a lot of the teams that we play against, we are known to practice the most out of everybody.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
I didn't know that until a couple months ago because everybody's just so good, and I was like, "Wait, we practice more than them?" But it's crazy because we have these, like, great players, and you wouldn't think that they don't practice more than once a week. So,
So how long have you been playing?
I'm about to go into my junior year of college. I've been playing for 2 full years.
Okay.
And this is going to be my second year.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I'm a Yeah, she's a sophomore and I'm a junior.
That's awesome. Now, and then do I have this right, Lily? You actually got to play on a national championship team. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Last summer, 2025, we won our like, our division, our cup. There's 4 cups. There's founders, the lowest, presidents, champions, and premier. We were in the champions cup, the second to top, and we won last year, and it moved us up to the premier cup this year.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
how many teams are a part of the Premier Cup then?
Like
I
four or
think
five, I think.
no,
Wait.
12.
Oh, 12.
12 teams
Oh,
are in each, um, division, but there's, like, 40 plus teams at nationals.
In
It's
total.
crazy. It's
That's
insane.
cool. And so do I have this right that this year, there actually is also gonna be a World Cup for, power soccer? Is that true?
I think so, I'm not sure. That's a question for my coach. I'm
Yeah.
not
Okay.
100% sure.
No worries. I just had looked it up and I thought like that's really
Yeah,
cool that
yeah.
it's becoming an international sport and lots of countries are playing and
Our
um
coach, he plays for the USA team.
that's amazing.
He's
That's
really good.
Yeah.
He's been playing for over 15 years.
wow. Now
Mhm.
how did y'all get into power soccer? Like what was the thing that got you connected to it?
I was applying to colleges and didn't know where I wanted to go or anything, but the major I chose only had, like, 3 schools in the state, and
Uh-huh.
Auburn was one of them, and when you apply to colleges and, like, they have their home websites,
Sure.
they, like, show these, like, things about the school. One of the pictures I saw on Auburn's website was wheelchair basketball, and I
Okay.
saw that, and I was like, "Wait, they have people in wheelchair at Auburn." And I applied to Auburn, I applied to UAB, I applied to Troy, but I was, like, leaning towards Auburn because that kinda, like, influenced me a little bit,
Yeah.
and I I got accepted into every everywhere, but I was like, "I really wanna go to Auburn, it seems really cool." Our older sister graduated from there, so it helped that we were a little bit familiar,
Yeah.
and my roommate is a friend from high school, so she was like, "If you get in,
Awesome.
we could be roommates." And I was like, "Okay." And
That's awesome.
then one day I texted mom, I was like, "Hey, we need to do a tour or something. I really feel like I want to go to Auburn." She's like, "We can do it. We got it. Let's go to Auburn." I was like, "Yes." And then like, someone from the power soccer team, her mom knew our mom and contacted me and was like, "She should try out for power soccer. We need more people coming to Auburn who are wheelchair users who can be a part of this sport," because it was Auburn only have had the power soccer team for 3 years now.
Okay.
It's a it's the only collegiate team in the whole country.
Wow.
So, we've
That's amazing.
we're really new, we're really fresh. And then after my freshman year, Ava came in, she was like, "Yeah, I wanna do power soccer as well."
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ava, what drew you to it?
Well, I basically kind of followed into my sister's footstep because I was thinking about going to Charleston State Community College or Troy, but I realized that they don't have this like adaptive sports that Auburn offers. So I was like,
Mhm.
you know what? I want to try something new.
Yeah, and, like, no other colleges offered things like
Yeah.
this for us.
Yeah.
We're from a small town, so we didn't have the opportunity
To play sports when
to
we were younger.
join a club sport or anything
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. There are teams, but they just weren't close to
Yeah.
us.
Sure. Now, both of you, your major at Auburn is disability and rehabilitation studies. Is that right?
Yes,
Yes, sir,
sir.
And,
rehabilitation and disability studies.
okay, I had it backwards. So you're, but you're kind of looking at different careers from that major. And so, tell me if I have this right. So, Lily, you're looking maybe at going to law school after you finish college.
I'm very back and forth between that. It's either law school, being a vocational rehab counselor, or just a counselor in general, but maybe even go into social work. I'm not
Uh,
really set on anything yet.
Very cool. What about you, Ava?
I'm not so certain about it either, just because there's a lot of options and like I kind of want to either go to counseling or, also
Mhm.
social work. But at the same time, I'm thinking about changing my major to nutritionist.
Nutrition.
Okay. Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
if you pursue a career in social work or in counseling, I know some people. So,
Oh,
give us a
okay.
call.
Okay.
Lifeline's a pretty incredible place to work. So we'd love to have you come around here. So, did your older siblings help you at all in your decision to, where to go to college? You talked about your older sister and Auburn being a place. Like where were they in your decision?
Our older brother went to UAB.
Okay.
He loves UAB. He's, like, been there for 7 years now. He's almost finishing PT school.
Okay.
And he went to undergrad at UAB, and then he went to grad school at UAB for PT school. Um,
Awesome.
and I got a full ride to UAB
Oh,
during
wow.
during my orientation at Auburn, but I was
Uh-huh.
already in love with Auburn. I was just like, "I don't wanna go to UAB." It's a little too city for me
Mm,
because Auburn's more
More calm.
more close-knit, calm
Yeah.
town feeling, and,
that's pretty
um,
awesome.
UAB is a little just more hustle bustle city life, and it's a little too much for me, but Reese loves it, and then our older sister, her name's Mash, short for Mary Ashton, but she went to Auburn. We love Auburn. We visited her as much as we could when she was there, and just knowing that, like, there was opportunity for us to be a part of something at Auburn helped a lot, but they would've wherever we went, they would've, like, been there to help us and show us around and just show their side of the neighborhood.
That's really cool. Well, I'm going to ask you some questions. Some of these may be kind of thought provoking or whatever. So just, hang with me. But what would you say to um, a younger kid that is maybe, growing up, going to consider college, but with a disability, that is, like following in your footsteps? What kind of advice would you give them?
Hmm, just go for it.
Yeah. Get out of your comfort zone.
Yep, for sure.
Um,
Try
try to try to be in all the clubs that you can.
be involved
Hmm.
even if it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like something you want to do or could do. Be a part of something even if it scares you. Your family is your biggest support,
Hmm.
Uh,
and just, like, don't be afraid, but also don't be afraid to say no
Yeah.
sometimes.
uh,
Yeah.
Advocate for yourself.
that's
It's
awesome.
your life. Live it the
Yeah.
way you want to.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you say that and you say it with the confidence of knowing that you've got a family behind you and
Mhm.
people that love you and are committed and in your corner. And that's
Yeah.
pretty cool to hear. That's awesome. Um, how did your family story and even your adoption story just help you to see um God's design for things and God's purpose in your life and your family.
Mom, you wanna get into this?
Yeah. I finished crying.
I think yeah, I think she has a good answer for this one.
Yes.
I love it. Come on, mom, jump in here.
I'm crying. I mean, hearing them say that, this answer
Yeah.
before got me. Um, it was all God.
Mhm.
That we were not, like Lily said, I think earlier, there was a 10-year
Mm,
time gap between we had a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old boy, girl, fully capable of, we could drop them off at places.
mhm,
We were past the little kid stage. We thought we were done with our family. And um friend of mine told me about her daughter adopting and told me about Lifeline. We had not even heard of Lifeline at that point. Um,
wow.
got on the website, saw this one on the way I was in China. And we are faithful people. We love God, but I
Uh,
have never audibly heard God speak. And I'm looking at
uh,
this little girl. At that point, Lily could duck walk, and she duck walked into a room
oh,
speaking rapid, full Chinese. And I heard God say, "She's yours." And just, and I mean,
that's
we had
cool.
not discussed adoption. There was no home study on the horizon. We had not done any of
Yeah.
that in 10 years, but it was, my husband came home and I said, I want you to look at something. And he immediately says, is this a child?
Wow.
And I'm like, well, how did you know
Wow.
that? But I mean, everything was just perfectly orchestrated by God from the point that we saw her until we got her home 9
Mm,
months later. I mean, it was everything moved quickly and, you know, we realized that she had some things going on physically, but my husband says God put blinders on us. We had
yeah.
doctors, this is going to be challenging. There are things going on with her arms. Or, are you sure about this? And we tunneled to her. And then 2 years
Yeah.
later, I was looking on the same list to help a friend because she said if I could find a child like Lily, I would go tomorrow. So of course, being a good friend of mine I am, I was looking. Ava was on the same waiting list and actually had the same diagnosis at Lily. It was incorrect at that, but we
Wow.
didn't at that point.
Mm,
But of course, then no one else moved on Ava, but once again, God was I always tell everybody he wove our family together. My oldest two, I
yeah.
don't know if you all said this. Our oldest was adopted from Russia, our son from
Mm,
Kazakhstan, and both girls from China. But God hand plucked them from those areas and brought our family together. Their personalities flow with ours. They are just as sarcastic as their
love it.
father, fun loving. I mean, but, not to have any DNA connection, the
Yeah.
bond that they have, the 4 of them, and the way that they love each other, and that the way, of course, they love us, and the way that we fiercely love them, it is a picture
Yeah.
of love to me because
Yeah.
we were formed together, and we are the
Mm,
Bamberg. I just say that he wove us together in love, and it is better than anything I ever imagined. But I think every day I look at them and I see God's plan, and I know that he's the orchestrator of every step. And just the way that we all came together is you can't do anything but glorify him in it for
yeah.
sure.
I love it. I love that. I think, we describe it in our family as, our journey to our kids was like bowling on one of those bowling alleys that's set up for kids, where you can't throw a gutter ball.
Yes,
It was
yes.
like God had a plan and it didn't really like we had to do was just kind of follow and go. And he
We
had
feel the
kids that
same
were
way.
picked out for our family and he knew who we needed and what we needed. And that's really cool. Yeah. Well, so in your career hopes, you really want to, you want to help other people and
Mhm.
want to, want to serve other people um and you want to do that with a spirit of um like challenging other kids to know
Mhm.
what's possible, right?
Yes.
So and I love the fact that a big part of that's rooted in the fact that you've had this incredible support from home.
Mhm.
And what what has that taught you about how you want to live that out with other people? I mean, obviously in the careers that you've chosen, the majors that you've chosen are about serving other people and about advocating for other people. How did your home and your home life help you to form that idea of that's what you want to do with your life?
I guess it's just how we were raised. Mom and dad have always said, "You are who you are, you're different. You may be different than other people, but you're not. You're not that different. You
Mm,
are just as capable. You can do this if you set your mind to it, or you can do that. Nothing is stopping you except for your physical limitations. And with a bright mind, you can do anything." And I
mm,
figured that, like, doing the college, doing the, like, athletics and all that stuff, building all of this up in my secondary education is gonna help me help others learn that they can also be whatever they wanna be and that
mm.
there isn't really any limitations.
And I think the girls do that so naturally, they don't even give themselves that credit. Like,
Yeah.
Mm,
we were in the pool the other day and somebody texted and said, "Hey, I'm coming to Auburn. I'm in a wheelchair. I have a lot of questions." And it was just like, "Yeah, let us get out of the pool. We'll call you back." And I heard them on
mm,
the phone. I mean, they just have that servant's heart to give and to help. And it's so natural for the both of them. They don't give themselves credit for that. That we've got people that don't really know them reaching out and they're setting that
Yeah.
example and they're living it every day. And
And
I said, they don't even think about what they're doing as far
Yeah.
as, that it's making a difference for somebody else. It's just their second nature.
and it felt good when, like, what she was talking about, our we have a new teammate coming in, and he's literally going through everything we went through the past 2, 3 years, and he was asking so many questions about, "What do I do about this? What do I do about that?" And I was like, me and Ava were both, like, rapid fire shooting him
Yeah.
all these answers, and we were like, "If you need us, we will be there. We will show you around. We're moving in earlier than you are, so when you get to Auburn, we will be ready for you. We will be there for you and just show you the ropes." And, like, since then, we've been communicating with him. We're like, "Hey, if you need this, this is what you can do to get it. If you and here's a tip here, here's a tip there." So, like, it feels good helping other people who are going through the same thing have as we are and have been through.
And y'all need to know that's pretty exceptional, you
Yeah.
know? It's
They don't.
pretty, I mean,
I agree with you.
yeah. But the
They
idea that you're focused on other people,
Yeah.
and that you don't have your eyes on yourself is really special. And it's, it speaks a lot to your character, and it speaks a lot to what, the work that God has done in you,
Mhm.
and that he wants to do through you. I'm gonna throw you another little curveball of a question, but I'd love to ask this as well. I think, sometimes in the church, we don't always do a great job of, um, living with and serving people with disabilities. And so,
Yeah.
what would you say to people in local churches about, how you wish the church might be different, especially in light of what you're learning in your major, and what you're learning about the world of being able to accommodate for and advocate for people that are different.
I'd probably just tell them that just be a little more patient
And
and
understanding.
open and understanding that, like, even though people with disabilities may do things a little bit differently or a little bit slower, or it takes more time and it's more of a process for them to get to where they need or have what they need. Just to be, like, patient and, like, be also, like, inclusive.
Mhm.
Try to reach out, try to make whatever's happening in the church just more inclusive, like, just open or just
And the most important thing, accessibility wise too.
yeah, just be considerate, I guess. Not that no church is not considerate, but
Mhm.
just be aware. Like,
Well, and I think too, I mean, you're listening to these girls talk. They're very intelligent young ladies, and they go
Yes.
to a church on their own on Sunday mornings. They get
yeah,
Yeah,
themselves up from Auburn to
yeah,
Opelika, which is about a 15-minute drive.
yeah.
They get
yeah.
there for an 8:30 service. I've gone to church with them a few times when I've been in town. They are worshiping, they're following. So if you have a visitor in your church,
Mhm.
talk to them.
Yeah,
Ask them what they
Mhm.
need because these girls, can tell you and it can work together to kind of formulate that plan, but just to realize that they're sitting in a chair, but they are just like us, that they're
mhm,
smarter than me. They know what they need and they're very good at communicating that. So and a lot of times, in a situation like that, you may not realize it. I know when I visited, Ava takes notes because she can sit and write just in her lap,
Mhm.
like, prop up to be able to write. She's got a severe arm weakness. But while I was there, somebody actually came up on their praise team, worship team, and said, "Hey, you've got your Bible and your notes, but somebody said you might need a table." Well, now they have something at the front that
Wow.
whoever's can go and get the little table and set it up so she can take notes. But that,
yeah,
just a little
That's
communication
awesome.
and talking to them, they'll figure out. So
yeah.
it that was really that just kind of showed me that they are, that they are considering them and looking out for their needs, and then just talking to them to see what they need. And
Mhm.
that's a big step in, meeting those needs for people with
That's cool.
different abilities, the accessibility. Sometimes it's just as easy as providing a table, and it's always up front. Whoever, if one
Yeah.
of her friends is sitting with her, they'll run and get the table, get that set up, and she's good to go to take notes. But that little thing, those were the hands and feet of Jesus, and that meant a lot to the
Yeah.
girls. And that's been their, that's kind of where they've landed, and that's where they're consistently going to church now. But little things like that meant a lot.
And just people asking, right? Because I think sometimes it's hard. People sort of feel like they shouldn't ask, and that
Yeah.
Yeah.
just, that doesn't seem right. It seems like that we ought to be comfortable enough to just be able to do that.
Yeah.
It comes from not wanting to offend them, but it means a lot when somebody does ask and considers what they need and listens and, kind of works out a plan together. They're really good at problem solving. So, if you talk to them, usually they can, together, you can come up with a solution. But
Mhm.
it is kind of hard to take that
Yeah.
first step to ask because you never want to be offensive. And we get that too. But it means a lot just when they talk to them and get it figured out because I mean, they're independently living 2 hours away from us, so they have to figure it out, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
they've done a darn good job.
We
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
especially in tricky situations when Ava's car,
Yeah.
you cannot let the ramp out because somebody parked in the wrong spot. Ah, had that happen
Wow.
once.
But something tells me after just a little bit of time of just this interview, getting to know you, that the two of you aren't gonna let that get in your way. You're gonna figure out some way to
Yeah.
Yeah.
be able to do what you need to do. So that's pretty cool. Wow. Well, y'all, thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of this podcast and for this interview. And I just, I just want to tell you, like, I'm really encouraged after the conversation with you to see all that you're doing, see all that God's doing in your life,
Mhm.
and just excited about the future. And so, let's stay in touch. I'd love to hear about how your season is this next
Yes, sir.
year and about how you're progressing in college, and we'd love to update your story at some point and
Mhm.
and be able to tell folks about how you're doing. But thanks for the opportunity to be able to share your story, and thanks for telling us a little bit about who you are.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks so much.